All right, so let's move on to the tech trance. There's a little bit different approach. Our melody starts here. I'm gonna take Serum this time, sorry. And this is our melody. So with this one, you probably know this one. This is from my track Crystallized, recently released. We actually can start with this sound that we have here, and that's gonna be like our starter sound. And we just don't even really need to do much. We can just take the hyper dimension to make it a little bit wider. And maybe some distortion on top of that, so it's a little bit crazier. Now I'm happy. Okay, so how do we approach the big room or tech trends or, you know, Avao and all these guys? How do we do this? It's a little bit different comparing to this one. It's a little bit more technical. But basically, first thing you want to do, you want to have this in a group, and you want to, let's just start with the reverb. That's going to be our first thing. So let's find the reverb. We can actually take this one. It's pretty cool. Let's put it on top. So here we go. And you can basically hear how it's all just drowning in the reverb. We're going to make the reverb a little bit darker. Okay, that's more EDM reverb. And now what's happening when I put more? As I said, it all just starts to drown. But I want to have a lot of reverb because it's based on the big reverb that is playing in the background. So how do I do this? Well, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to right click. I'm going to say group. And I'm going to look at my chain here. I have my chain, and this is where my reverb is. I'm just going to rename this. I'm going to call it reverb. And I'm going to add one more chain here. And I'm going to call this dry. So this is my lead where it comes through, no reverb. And this is my reverb. On this reverb, I'm going to change the dry weight to 100%. And instead, I'm going to lower the volume here. So I'm going to go to, let's say, -9. I can actually go a little bit crazier. So how about we go -6. And what I want is that when my lead is playing, this reverb ducks. And then it pops back up after that. So I'm gonna go here in my audio effects and pick compressor and put it right here behind the reverb. And here I want the sidechain to be on, and I'm gonna click on this. I'm gonna say this big room techie melody pre-FX. So basically I will be sidechaining the reverb by the lead itself. Okay? So pre-FX is already set. And you can have a look what's happening. And you can increase the release just to make it sound a little bit nicer. So when I play it like this, let's just make one note here so you can see what's happening with it. It pretty much immediately starts to play right away. And I want to have a little bit of a release, so let's give it a little bit of a release. Let's play with the knee so it's a little bit more beautiful. Okay, it's getting there. And now let's increase the threshold. And here you're getting that sound that almost reminds of what we're looking for. Let's increase the decay as well. And now let's play it. This is also a crazy example. Okay, the threshold needs to be a little bit less so we at least... That's without it. And now I can even increase the volume and it's gonna still sound pretty cool. So that reverb is now cutting through only when there is space for it. So if you have in a different kind of techie melody, it's just gonna, you know, pop pretty nice. Now, we are not finished with this reverb because it needs a lot of work. First of all, we need to saturate it a little bit because it just sounds, you know, weird. So first, EQ. Let's have a look what's happening here. We don't need this low end. We don't need this high end. But we want some mids. Nice, it's getting somewhere. Okay, let's change these high cuts and low cuts so it's not so, you know, resonate-y. Now, as I said, we need some little bit of saturation, so we can take just a saturator here. Yeah, and just increase the drive. But when you do this, it's gonna increase the volume as well, so we're just gonna decrease the output. Let's add some more high frequencies here. A little bit wider. Yeah, I'm pretty much happy, and I'm just gonna swap the equalizer with the saturator because the saturator adds some low-end frequencies there. Beautiful. So that's our sort of EDM-ish sound. Now, what happens when we add more sounds? How about we just add one more?